When I first met Daniel, I didn't know the extent of his journey. I didn't know the pain he'd endured, the countless battles he had fought, or the sacrifices he had made. All I knew was that he was kind, funny, and made me feel at home in a way that no one else ever had. We met at a little cafe in the middle of the city. I remember rushing in to grab my coffee before a meeting, trying to balance my phone, my purse, and a steaming cup of latte. As I hurried to the counter, I almost tripped over my own feet. I looked up, embarrassed, and saw Daniel laughing softly. "Need a hand?" he asked, his eyes twinkling with amusement. "I think I've got it," I replied, blushing as I caught myself. He gave me a friendly smile. "Well, if you do fall, I'm right here to catch you," he joked, motioning to his wheelchair with a wink. I couldn't help but laugh, and we started chatting. That was the beginning of our story, just two strangers talking about life, love, and everything in between. As time went on, I learned about Daniel's accident. He was paralyzed from the waist down after a car crash that had left him physically broken, but his spirit was anything but defeated. Daniel never once let his disability define him. He wasn't looking for sympathy or pity. He was looking for connection. And somehow he found me. Our relationship wasn't perfect. We had our fair share of challenges, especially with the way people looked at us when we went out together. But Daniel taught me something that I hadn't known before, that real love isn't concerned with appearances or expectations. It's about shared moments, understanding, and walking side by side through life, no matter what it throws at you. One evening, after we'd been dating for a while, Daniel turned to me, his eyes serious. "I want to spend the rest of my life with you," he said. "Will you marry me?" Tears welled up in my eyes, and without a second thought, I said yes. The wedding planning was a blur. There were so many little details to take care of. Flowers, seating arrangements, music. But through it all, I was focused on one thing. The moment when I would stand in front of Daniel, in front of all our friends and family, and declare my love for him. The day of the wedding arrived, and everything was perfect. I woke up early, filled with excitement and nervous energy. My bridesmaids surrounded me, helping me with the dress, fixing my hair, and making sure I didn't faint from the nerves. But it wasn't just the dress or the flowers or the guests that made that day unforgettable. It was Daniel. I remember walking into the ceremony hall, my heart racing. The music played softly in the background, and all eyes were on me as I made my way down the aisle. But then something caught my eye, and I froze. Daniel was sitting at the front, waiting for me, just like we had planned, but there was something different, something I didn't expect. As the music shifted, I saw him move. He was standing. I stopped in my tracks, my breath catching in my throat. For a moment, everything else faded away. The room, the guests, the decorations, they all blurred as I focused solely on Daniel. His legs trembled as he carefully placed one foot in front of the other, the effort written all over his face. But his eyes, they were filled with a determination I had never seen before. He wasn't just standing, he was walking. It wasn't easy. I could see the strain in his muscles, the concentration in his gaze, but he was doing it. He was walking toward me. I couldn't believe it. I knew he had been working hard with therapy, but I had no idea he'd been pushing himself to the limit for this moment. I thought he was content to sit at the front of the aisle, waiting for me as I walked toward him. I had no idea he would stand for me. When he reached me, he took my hands gently in his. His hands were shaking, and there was a slight waver in his voice as he said, "I wanted to stand for you today. I wanted to walk to you. Not because I had to, but because I wanted you to know how much you mean to me." I couldn't hold back the tears. I threw my arms around him, hugging him as tightly as I could. The room was quiet, except for the soft sniffles and gasps of those who had witnessed this incredible moment. But all I could hear was the sound of my heartbeat and the love pouring from both of us. We stood there for a moment, just holding each other. I could feel his heart racing, just like mine. This wasn't just about a wedding, it was about a promise to never give up on each other, no matter how hard life got. Our vows were simple, but they meant everything. We promised to always stand by each other, to face every challenge with courage, and to cherish each day as a gift. But that moment when Daniel stood for me was the greatest vow we could ever make. I didn't just marry a man that day, I married a fighter I married a soul so strong, so full of love that nothing could ever break us. Love, I learned that day, isn't about perfection, it's about commitment. It's about showing up, even when it's hard. It's about giving everything you have, no matter the cost. And Daniel, with every step he took toward me, showed me what true love looks like. That day, we became partners, not just in marriage but in life. And I know, no matter what comes next, we'll face it together, hand in hand.